Hi there, it's Ken from AnyMonkey, and today I want to touch on how to use the blank editor function of the app when you're doing your roof drawings. Basically, when it comes to doing shingle roofing and you click Identify, you have all of these things here. You have eaves and rakes and ridges and hips and valleys and stuff. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's also a bunch of details here, detail A, B, C, D, and stuff like that. And the way that I use those is because every parapet on a flat roof is different. There's sometimes it's just a cant detail, sometimes it's a parapet that has a wall flashing and a cap flashing, sometimes it's a double gumlet detail. It always changes. So without knowing what type of detail you've got, what I've come up with is we'll use the blank editor to make a drawing. And what I've done here is I've done a couple of quick drawings just to show you, but I'm going to go through the functions of using a blank editor in a second. But sorry, I'm just going to go back here. Here's 3 drawings that I've done, and these are 3 details that I've labeled on the roof there, and I always name them A, B, and C like that, just as my details are in the Identify section. Now, if I wanted to add a D detail, what I would do is click on the blank screen here in the bottom corner. I would write D and put a little circle myself. That's how I do it on the area there, and then I'll make a drawing. And sometimes when I'm drawing, I just draw what the piece of flashing is that I need. Other times I'll actually try and draw like the wall or something, so I know that there's if there's a reglet coming out of the wall that's existing, then I'll draw the wall with the existing reglet, and then I'll draw the piece of flashing that I'm going to need for that wall. So you have options here. If you click on the color palette, you can pick whatever kind of color you'd like, and you can click blue, and then there's also different sizes of the buttons. Button 3 is a thicker line, button 2 is a little bit thinner, and button 1 is a really thin line. And then I've also got a pattern line here, which is more for fun than anything else. But when you're drawing these lines, sometimes you want a line that stands out a little bit more than the other ones, and sometimes the pattern line might come in handy because of that. I'm just going to push clear to clear this drawing off here. There's also another tool that I have here. It's a text tool. Sometimes I just want to take notes, and I've got a text box that shows up here, and I can stretch the text box to any size on this page that I want. Basically, it'll go to that area, and if I double click in the text box, then it brings up an area where I can start typing. And so I can type notes. So it's basically a notepad / scribble pad is basically what the layout is. I can also combine them. If I take this text here, I can move it anywhere on the screen that I want. So if I had a specific detail, and I wanted that text here to be next to that detail, then I can certainly do that. I can move that around and label things a little bit. So I'm going to clear it again here. I'm going to do up a quick drawing here. I'm going to select a color. I'm going to select brush size, and I'm just going to draw a simple double gumlet detail on a wall. So in this case, I'm going to pick a thick brush. I'm going to draw a wall. Okay, and maybe this is just a brick wall, and so I'm just going to quickly do something like this, just so I know to myself later on that that was a brick wall. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a double gumlet flashing here, and here it goes. And there's the first part of the gumlet, and I'm just going to put a little dot there to know that that's my caulking for the gumlet there. And I'll draw another one here, and a little bit more there. Now I've got a detail, and I can call that detail D, and that's a gumlet flashing that'll go around on this detail. So when I label this thing later on my drawing and I come back, I know that that's what detail D was. It was a double gumlet flashing. So now I've got 4 nice drawings here that I can refer to later on. Sometimes when you're doing estimates, at least for me anyways, is I'm doing a lot of tender estimates, and sometimes the site visit is on let's say January 1st, but the job doesn't close until January 15th. That means I have 2 weeks to work on this, and depending on my schedule, sometimes I'm not picking this up again for at least another 7 or 8 days. So I may have forgotten some of these details when I get back and I actually start doing my estimate. So it's nice to have a drawing that you can actually look at and say, this is what I need here. Obviously photographs do that for you too, but it's nice having these details and then labeled on your drawing so you actually know how many feet each one of these details is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this drawing, and I'm going to go back to my draw roof. And remember, I have detail A, B, C, and D. Well, now let's say here that I zoom down to this area right in here, and this whole area was just simply detail A. I'm going to go identify, and I'm going to go detail A, and I'm just going to start clicking around on all of these corners here, and that's detail A. I'm going to then zoom out of here and go to the next roof here. Now the perimeter of this roof for the most part was detail B, except in this one area I've got that double gum lip that I was talking about. So I'm going to go identify detail B, and I'm going to click on all the areas where I have detail B, and then I'm going to go identify detail D for the areas that might have a double gum lip. Then also I've got the penthouse or elevator shaft roof here, and I'm going to identify that as detail C, and I'm just going to go around and click on there. Now I have to scale the drawing because in the details it won't show anything for those details if I have not set any kind of a scale on the drawing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to find the longest line here, and I'm going to say that that line is 150 feet long, and I'm going to scale my drawing. Now when I go look at my details, it shows my detail A, my detail B, my detail C, my detail D. So if I save this now and I go into the generate report section, I can generate a report for both of those things. I can do it for the main image, and I can do it for the blank editor, and I can say done, and I can go generate report. And you can see here's my blank editor report. It's just a picture of that screen basically that we've created, and then the main image is the building, and then if you go to the next page you'll see the detail A, B, C, and D. So if I print these two things out, when I'm sitting there doing my estimate, I don't have to do very much. I just look at my picture of detail A, and then I come back to detail A over here and say, okay, detail A is 481 feet long. It was a two-piece flashing, so I add that into my estimate, and it's very easy for me to get my totals that way. I can also click on these two check boxes here, and I can sync this back to the server, so I can save it later. I can look at it on the server later, or if I was doing this site visit for another one of my office mates, he could actually go on right now and look and do an estimate based on the takeoff that I've just given him. So it's really a good function. Also, I could email both reports to an office mate or a customer or anything I'd like. So I'm not going to. I'm going to just delete this right here. But that's basically how the blank editor works, and that's how the generative report works, and that's how I would use it if I was doing an actual estimate myself. Please feel free to give me a call if you have any questions. My phone number is 604-377-5509. And also, you can email me at ken@anymonkey.ca. Thanks very much, and have a great day.